From the industrial wastelands of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the American Greed Factory.
Why relate to it? Sheer perversity.
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it, whether we're young or old?
Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
This is Conlon.
Andrew.
We're back. The three of us are back. Everyone's going to be excited about that.
Yeah, sorry, I should have been here last week when my alarm didn't go off again.
Oh, well. we were able to carry on, but
yeah,
there was a lot of empty spaces.
I did forget to mention how StarCraft kind of stole everything from Aliens.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, we had a pretty lively Alien discussion last week, or at least I thought it was. Talked about a lot of different things with that movie. It's this week, Naked Gun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Stacy watched that last night. Forgot how funny that movie was.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. It's kind of a somber start to the week, or to the show. A lot of death. There's Prince died, who he was a great musician. I didn't realize how many of his songs I had till I thought about it. It's just like David Bowie when he died earlier. Like, how many David Bowie songs do I have? Oh, 35. Okay, well, I don't have quite that many Prince songs, but a very influential musician with a long career.
Yeah.
And nobody knows how he died or anything. So
I always heard like people said he was one of the best guitar players ever, but he never really like
showed off.
Well, no, he showed off, but it's like you never really thought of him as a guitar player. Just kind of thought of him as a singer or whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's something like somebody interviewed Eric Clapton, and they said something like, "What do you think about being the best guitar player in the world?" And he goes, you have to ask Prince that."
Yeah.
Well, there's so many greats of guitar players. How do you determine that between? There's so many different genres that require different skills.
Well, apparently that's what made him so good is that he actually he didn't just cover one genre. He like mastered all of them essentially or something.
Okay. So I never really sat down and listened to his music that often, so I don't really.
Yeah, I hear most of his poppy stuff, and I never heard any of his recent stuff he done. And apparently, he has a vault of just of massive amounts of stuff that he's just never released.
Oh yeah, he will. They say they have 10 years of material they can feed to the public.
Because like Kevin Smith,
an insane work ethic.
Yeah, well, like Kevin Smith has that story where his house is just wired for sound. So if he wants to make a song in the bathroom, he can.
Yeah.
And also, like Kevin Smith directed a music video for him, which never got released.
Well, he's doing it was a documentary, actually. Yeah, I think it was a documentary. Because I played that for Stacy. I had it on. That's an evening with. I think it was that the first evening with where you talked about that. Yeah, your mic just dropped out. I can't hear you. I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you talking. And it's not lag. Speaking of wired for sound, we are not wired for sound tonight. Yeah, I got nothing. But we're still recording. We're going to soldier on until this problem resolves itself. Anyway. Yeah, I'm getting the stretch it out. Similar. So I can see everyone. Phil. I'm supposed to Phil. Let me see. Yeah, we took the my as far as like good guitar players, I was always the guy I always thought was funny and almost kind of bitter was Steve Miller. The guy learned to play guitar from Les Paul, and he had a very troubled career as a recorder. and as an artist. So that was always interesting. And then of course you got Santana, who he said he could see musical notes in the air as he played, which that's an interesting that's an interesting thing. For the visual aspect of this is funny. It's kind of just looking at the mic, looking at the computer. I wonder what the life is on one of those mics. You think it just died? Oh, maybe not. Anyway, Prince died in his home. No, nothing yet. Nothing coming out yet on that one. Oh, let's see. What's going on in the news today? Why is my thing not moving? Okay, there we go. What's Donald Trump doing this week? Who gives a fuck? What was I going to talk about? To myself, nothing. Oh, yeah, good week for people killing each other by the droves. They had a guy that killed 5 people in Georgia and then shot himself. Yeah. What do you need from me? I can't hear what you're saying. Type it in. Let me see if maybe I don't have that thing turned on. Hold on. Your audio is working? Huh. Well, that's weird. Is there something I could change on my end? Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm getting messages. Yeah, I see the green, the bar in the corner. So what am I supposed to do? Just type it in. Oh, yeah. No, that green bar. No, I don't see anything coming through there. I don't on. I can mute myself. So that's the only mute I have. This started off working. Now what changed? What the fuck? Let me check my settings. Let's see, sound. Input. Okay, you adjusted my audio level, it says. Huh. I don't know what the fuck could have happened. I didn't touch anything. Where's the light source? Oh, what do I need to do here? See if I can hear anything.
Dead air.
You're back.
Okay, I am?
What?
All right.
Okay.
You change anything or
No, I didn't touch a fucking thing.
did I?
I was about to ask Colin to type in, unplug and replug in your headphones, see if your headphones have a problem.
No, because I wasn't getting. I have a the recorder and the mixer and everything, when you guys talk, it all lights up when it's receiving something, and it just everything dropped off.
Huh, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck just happened.
I have no idea.
There's the CIA. They're blacking out our broadcast.
Talking about Prince being an awesome guitar player, and then like, fuck that. We're Santana fans.
Tangent, and I was trying to find things to talk about. I don't talk to myself enough. I just don't talk to myself very much. Never do the Rush Limbaugh thing where it's like, I'm going to fill 3 hours just me talking.
Yeah, I've done 2 solo podcasts, and I've filled time by reading old things I wrote.
Yeah, I never been fucking bothered because I don't write or produce anything for, I don't do anything creative for one thing, and another, what you heard while we were trying to figure out what the hell was going on, that's about as good as I could do on my own.
Yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, Bill Burr does a really great job. Like, he just does his shit off the top of his head. And like, he'll record multiple podcasts where it's like, well, that one sucked, and he records another one. He releases every week, so he's really good at that. And sometimes he'll invite his wife in, and then they'll have a conversation, but otherwise it's all on his own.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why he's a professional paid comedian, though. That's the difference there, folks. We can make a living doing this.
Now, sometimes it's like when I do Bought and Never Played, I could probably do that by myself, but it's easier. I usually just have Andrew there because then I'm explaining stuff to him, but maybe I could just like explain stuff to a supposed audience.
Yeah.
But I think organically talking to yourself when no one else is around is easier than someone might listen to it, because then you're probably actively thinking if it's actually anything somebody would want to hear.
There's a psychological component when you think somebody might be listening. You change everything, and you come up with shit to talk about, but you also say things in a way you might never actually say it.
Yeah, if you really recorded me by myself, just the racist hatred.
You cover it up well in public.
Yeah, I've got to keep a public persona there. I don't want to a franchise deal with,
J&B Scotch.
Yeah. Tonight's Absolute. Tonight's drink is Absolute Vodka, the small container.
Is that their slogan? Absolute Vodka, the small container.
No, this is like a double. This is like a double fifth.
This is like the Sam's Club version of Absolute Vodka.
Yes, that's the. I've had that.
Buy in bulk and you'll last forever.
Oh God, I've had that since Christmas.
Yeah, because I have a thing of Absolute Vodka in my freezer. It's like half that size. So yeah, I know you got the bulk going to rocking that one.
Yeah,
I think
the only thing you can afford anymore, because for some reason Scotch and whiskey's absolutely gone through the roof in prices.
Yeah, but rum's still cheap though.
Does that have something to do with hops or whatever? Because isn't like vodka made out of potatoes or some shit like that?
No, only certain vodkas are made out of potatoes. Otherwise, it's made out of
vodka is made out of potatoes. Everything else is basically corn and grain. There's certain grains they make it out of. Russian vodka, I think, is mostly made out of grain, and so is the French.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the Swedish vodka is made out of.
I think I was listening to some Hannibal Buress. I went through all his comedy sets and stuff, and there's a joke he has where he's like getting robbed or something. He's like, "Hey man, don't shoot me! I just bought some bulk size toilet paper. I want to get through all that."
Yeah, don't waste that shit. Oh, that was the one he did in Scotland, right?
Yeah. That was a documentary where he went to Edinburgh. I don't know how to say it. It looks like Edinburgh, but they say like Edinburgh or something.
Edinburgh, yeah.
And it's a pretty crazy festival because it's 20
the Freak Festival or whatever.
Yeah, it's some sort of arts festival, but like it has a bunch of stand up and other stuff to it. And so he does 26 days straight of like the same stand up routine in like 14 different venues.
Oh, that'd make you insane.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he goes insane by like day 14, but then he starts changing some things up. He does one one set without a microphone because the room's kind of small, so he just like ditches the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Then there was one like he did a set, and it's like an improv stand-up routine where it's like these words appear behind you, and then you have to do like a stand-up routine based on the words they give you.
Yeah, that's. How did he do with that? He doesn't seem like that kind of comedian.
He did pretty well. The first thing he did was like it's like the inner thoughts of a unicorn, and there's like, and like his first thing he kind of thinks to himself is like, "Yeah, I believe in myself. I exist." So he said something like, "I'm the I don't know the guy like I'm the only animal built for a threesome."
Okay. Good. That's actually pretty good. Built for a threesome. Well, speaking of comedy, we had a very tragic thing happen, I guess Thursday. I don't know when. I heard about it yesterday.
Yeah.
It was Patton Oswalt's wife, 46 years old, died, which is like what's her name? Michelle McNamara.
Yeah.
Died in her sleep, which is all that they're saying. But that one was really sad to me because Patton Oswalt, of course, you introduced me to him. Wasn't it the same year that Werewolves and Lollipops came out? Like
Probably, yeah.
2007 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I have all his albums, and then we discussed his book, The Zombie Spaceship Wasteland, which I actually went out and bought, and as a physical book. After we discussed it, and because we got the audio book where Michael Stipe read the REM lyrics. Yeah, so this is a guy who you feel like, I mean, he's a complete stranger, but he's shared so much of his life, and that he had a kid and he got married, that when you hear about something like this, it's absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
When somebody dies like that, it's like, oh wow, the clock is really running. You can, car wreck. That's when there's someone I knew this week died in a car wreck. I just heard about it, but I guess the car wreck happened a while back, but he just recently died, and he's 31, and it's like, wow, But when you just die in sleep is that place of safety. It's like, well, what happens in bed at night? What can go wrong? And it's like, yeah, you can just die, which is that's all they're saying, and that's very tragic. Makes you wonder what direction is he going to take now? Because he was always kind of a dark person before, but there was this sort of hope. Now
he used to be pretty bitter, and now he kind of finds happiness in the bitterness. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
where this is going.
I don't know. Might pull a Rick Moranis.
What's Rick Moranis?
His wife got cancer, and he just quit acting and took care of his wife till she died, and then raised his kid.
Oh, okay.
That's why Rick Moranis never just stopped doing stuff.
Oh, okay. I think we talked about that once, but yeah, it was. It's always sad when something like that happens to someone you like.
Yeah,
appreciate their work, and especially because they have a 7-year-old daughter.
Yeah, you'd almost rather hear that he died.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I could see that.
It's like, well, my favorite comedian died. That's sad. Now it's like, oh, now my favorite comedian has to deal with an infinite sadness.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
every
terrible.
time I look at this kid, it's like, oh yeah, you had a mother, and now she's, yeah, that's fucked up. That dying in your sleep, it can happen though.
Yeah, it happened to Ryan Davis, who was a giant bomb guy.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, he died in his sleep.
Yeah, but he had like sleep apnea and stuff, and he was like 300 pounds. But yeah, he died. He died like a week after his wedding. That was extra sad.
Huh. Yeah, I have that too. That's why I have that machine thing. It took me like a year and a half to get used to. Yeah, I suppose I could lose a bunch of weight and shit, and I probably wouldn't have that problem anymore. But fuck that, to do that when I can have my it's called a CPAP machine, but my son called it he says, Dad, don't forget to use your breathe fat machine. He's a constant source of encouragement for me. Put on your breathe fat machine so you don't die in your sleep. It's like, thanks, son. Does that mean you care, or what are you telling me?
Maybe that's his motivation to you to lose weight. Like, I wouldn't use it if it was called Breathe Fat Machine. Like,
You made me ashamed of myself, son, and now I don't sleep with it anymore. I'm gonna die in sleep. It's gonna be your fault.
Yep. Well, that shit can kill you. So, but CPAP machines also suck. So it's not a lot of. Well, that's why we've covered this ground before, and I don't even know what this is related to that. But Jim Norton has that really bad.
Yeah.
He hated his fucking CPAP machine so much. That's why he went out and like lost 100 pounds and jogged 20 miles a day. But he's like, fuck, I still have sleep apnea. Because he always thought it was his weight. And that's what the people told him.
Yeah.
Because he was like 5'5" and he weighed like 200 and some pounds. And it's like, that's way too big for him at that size. And so he went out, jogged, and runs with weighted suits and shit. And it's like, yeah, I still can't sleep on airplanes. Because I'll lay down and I'll get comfortable in an airplane and then I'll be like, and I'll freak everyone out around me. I'm at ideal fucking body weight, best health I've ever been in my life, and yeah, still fucking can't breathe when I fall asleep. So
that's what got who was that? The guy, the Packers who sacked people, Reggie something.
Reggie White.
Oh, yeah,
he died really young of that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know I had it till I was in my late 30s.
Well, I knew I had it when I was like 19, when I was 25 pounds heavier than I am now. So I know if I probably will start having it again soon. I think I already had it once in the last 6 months. I almost thought I was just like choking on something in my sleep or something, because that's what it feels like.
Oh, yeah. You might want to.
I didn't even know.
You want to go to the gym with me?
Yeah, I just walked in.
Make sure you don't die in your sleep.
Stacy told me she thought she saw it, and then they hooked some machine up to me, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you have that." It's not like the worst kind, like because there's variants of it. Now they don't really understand it, because there's actually drugs they can give you that are like low-level stimulants, and it'll make it go away in certain cases. But the problem is you never get a restive sleep either, because you're taking stimulants. So you're going to trade like, well, I won't die in my sleep, but I'm borderline psychotic. So, but anyway, that's very sad for a great comedian. And it's a hell of a thing to happen.
Yeah, to anybody, because it's, I don't know. It's happened to my wife's uncle, where she was, his wife was young enough. It wasn't, I mean, she was only like 60-ish, but otherwise she's in great health, and just one night, just bam, and nothing.
Well, I was talking to one of my friends today from where I used to live, and we were talking about this, and he said, he reminded me, she wasn't a girl that went to my high school, but in that town they had like county high schools together. She was like 16 years old, played volleyball, and she just went to sleep and died. And there was people were like, was it drugs? Was it? And they just finally ruled it as, because her parents wanted to know what was going on. Because she played volleyball. She was a, kind of a student athlete, and they just ruled it as natural causes. Now that was 25 years ago, but they couldn't find a cause. She just went to sleep and didn't wake up. And 16 years old.
Well, I think that something kind of happened to Pistol Pete Maravich. Like, didn't he have like a hole in his heart that like, and they just got him one day?
I mean, that could be. Yeah, I don't remember that exactly. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, because usually they say when people die in their sleep, it's like a heart attack or a stroke, or it's dying in your sleep. Sounds peaceful, but really is you wake up struggling to probably survive and then die and look like you fell asleep. So
there's nothing good about death.
No.
Just ask Kevin Smith about his dad.
What about? Oh yeah, that was, I could when he described that.
About his dad, he describes how his dad died screaming, and like now that's his motivation for everything. Is like, get everything done in your life, because we're all gonna die screaming.
When did his dad die? Because I don't remember.
No.
Okay. Well, I figured it was years ago, but I didn't think it was anything recent. But at the same time, it was like I never heard this story before. So it's,
Oh yeah, I don't know where he said it, but it might have been on a podcast or somewhere. But yeah,
Yeah, I remember him talking about it because it was like, wow, I can't believe he just described it like that.
because like I think they got him to a hospital, like he had a heart attack, and then I think he like kind of, I don't know when the screaming started, but then he just died after the last screaming session.
Yeah, that's it. So is that why Kevin Smith is like so thin now?
I don't know. I don't think that's why, because like he's told that story like 5 years before he started getting thin. I don't know. I think somebody gave him like, hey, you want to lose weight? Here's a way to do it, and then he just followed that, and then it worked.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
oh, because did he ever use? I think he used to actually smoke, right?
Yeah,
Because I don't think he does.
and then
that
he
anymore.
just started smoking. He stopped smoking cigarettes, and he just smoked weed.
Okay, because they tell you if you actively smoke, that's like a Big Mac a day, and it comes off your calorie count. It's like, well, that's kind of useful to know. I guess I want to lose like.
No, it's not like it's not like smoking. Like, hey, you get thinner because you smoke. It's that you have no appetite when you do.
Well, I thought it was a combination. Between,
Well, ask Nathan. He smoked for years.
Yeah, you don't have any appetite when you smoke. I mean, I was grossly obese when I smoked, and I'm grossly obese now. So, but yeah, there's a now the kind of smoker I was like maybe 4 or 5 cigarettes a day, unless something really bad was going on. But people that smoke like models and stuff swear by it, but they'll smoke like packs of cigarettes a day. Like I could never smoke an entire pack of cigarettes in 24 hours. That would be I'd actually get sick to my stomach. I was mainly a work smoker.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just like one of those people is like, I only smoke what I drink.
Yeah.
Type of people where it's
Okay.
an occurrence that only happens at certain times.
Okay. He died. Pistol Pete Maravich died when he's 40 playing a pickup basketball game. He said like before that happened, somebody was talking to me. Said he felt great, but the autopsy revealed that he had a rare congenital defect. He had been born with a missing left coronary artery,
Oh, that's weird.
a vessel that supplies blood to the muscle fibers of the heart. His right coronary artery was grossly enlarged and had been compensating for the defect.
Oh, okay. So he had a lopsided heart then, huh? Huh. That's terrible. Terrible stuff this week. Lots of death. Lots of death lately.
In China, I don't think anybody remembers China too much, but yeah, she died too.
Somebody was who are they going after? Whenever somebody dies, who was on the guy who's on Corolla all the time, the rehab doctor.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dr. Drew. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, another celebrity rehab dies.
Because hasn't she gained weight since not being a wrestler? I think she's been a wrestler
Probably,
for a
but I
while.
think she
Who
was
was
still.
trying to explain that to me? I don't really know exactly.
She was part of wrestling during the Attitude Era of WWF when it was still WWF, WWE, and that was kind of like their heyday, where like they weren't chasing cultural things, like they were a part of the culture. So she was the bodyguard for Triple H in Degeneration X.
She had like black hair and
Um,
was usually. I didn't really see her a lot on that, but try to remember her more now because I know she was in porn too. So you get
Yeah. When they did the Avenger porn parodies, she was She-Hulk.
Okay.
And she posed for Playboy, and I think that was like the highest selling Playboy ever when she did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
because everybody
Looking at-
wants to
right
see a
now.
really, really built wrestling woman.
Yeah, and she wrestled men, which I guess the WWE frowned upon, but they gave her a title, the Intercontinental title. She had won that at some point, and there was one Royal Rumble where she entered in, but she was dating Triple H at the time, and when they broke up, that's kind of when she lost any kind of influence with WWE, and they just kind of let her go at some point.
Oh, okay. And then she was on Celebrity Rehab, so she was on what was her drug of choice?
I think alcohol mostly.
Oh, okay.
Maybe pills. I'm not sure about that.
Seems like
I don't know if steroids was broached or anything like that. But
Well, I know
Or
when.
that was in the background.
Well, I know from this like top 10 list of wrestlers that have like, went through rehab or died and stuff like that. It seems like a lot of them, do pills, cocaine, or alcohol. That's pretty much the drugs of choice with WWE. So
they drink because of the lifestyle, and then they do pills because they're hurt constantly, but they still want to work,
Right.
and then they have to do steroids to
look the
look
part.
big. So, but steroids don't make you big. It just helps you retain water and helps you recover from working out, so you can work out more.
So that's the mechanism there, huh?
Yeah, you don't just take if you just took steroids and did nothing, you just get really, really fat really quickly.
Oh, okay.
you have to keep working out.
Oh, I thought it was just like a magic pill you took.
No, because that's what the steroids allows the guys. Like if you like did an intense workout, well, now you can do that like 3 times a day because you're on steroids.
Oh, okay.
So now you're doing like a month's work of working out in a week.
That sounds fun already. Like, oh wait, not.
I guess if that's what you're into. So, yeah, bad week for death. Speaking of death and death on the way, North Koreans today supposedly launched a missile off of a submarine.
Secret missile again. They launched a stealth missile.
Yeah, this is always the claims with these people. And well, they did launch one out of the water, and they claimed it was from a submarine, but then people analyzed the photo, and it's like, no, they had a missile. They had like a tube in the water they shot. It wasn't in a submarine, because they did try to shoot one out.
They surfaced the submarine, and a guy fired a shoulder fire rocket launcher.
Well, the only submarine they have is and it's like a kind of a one-off they made from the Russian Gulf. It's called the Sinpo, and that's one of those ones that can shoot Scud missiles out of the sail. The Gulf submarine was the one that the Glomar Explorer went after.
Yeah,
that Russian one where they who knows what happened, Project Azorian, and those were introduced in 1958. And the North Koreans have been furiously trying to modify and build one like that. They used to have them, but they had to sell them off because they're just submarines that have been around that long are not good. So but they're claiming they can mount this KN-11 missile of theirs to this new submarine that they've made, and I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but just act weird.
Scare Japanese people.
Yeah, scare the Japanese. Makes you wonder what the Japanese have that we don't know about.
Robots.
Well, they probably have nukes. They got to have nukes. You got to think they have them somewhere.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, you have to imagine they can probably make one rather quickly if they want to.
Well, they're making stealth planes, so.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, they're making stealth drones and
Oh, okay. I guess.
And what's the one called? The Shin is their stealth fighter, but they don't paint theirs black. Theirs is like red and silver, but they say it in radar. It has this real low observable, whatever.
Does anybody else make stealth stuff?
The Chinese.
Do they try or does it work?
They claim it does. When we had our Secretary of Defense go there for a meeting once, and they had it fly overhead, and they said, "Look at our stealth plane." It looked like a black F-18 to me, but I don't.
I thought we still actively develop stealth programs.
Yeah, we do, but
Okay.
Oh, we do.
it's just ungodly expensive.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
nobody else makes
Everything
it.
military is ungodly.
It's like you could build like an aircraft carrier practically for what a stealth bomber cost.
We We ordered the new. What's the one? The B-21
Yeah.
stealth bomber that's going to go into production.
Yep.
And then of course the drones and stuff that we have a lot of stealth, or
The
we have stealth drones, I'm sure.
The stealth destroyer,
The
stealth
stealth-
drone, stealth bomber.
Yeah, we got
Well,
we got stealth boats too.
Stealth boats, trying to develop stealth ICBMs, but we don't talk about that because it's kind of hard to make something stealthy that goes 11 times the speed of sound, and it's not exactly by its nature inherently stealthy. But if you couldn't detect them,
Yeah, which one would be more game changing? Those, I mean, obviously stealth bombers, warships, and all other stuff, ICBMs, you could practically kill an entire country without hopefully being noticed. But is it better to do that or have a stealth suit so you can go in invisible than kill somebody in power or change the direction of a country without having to bomb the whole entire population off the face of the earth?
I don't know if that's possible. There's not really. You can see people on the ground. They're not really having ground-facing radar looking for stealth dudes.
No, I'm just saying like stealth suit as in like refractive light camo, where you pretty much blend with the environment, stuff from like Predator.
Well, I mean, I don't think we're there yet.
No, I'm just saying which one.
I don't think they're equivalent. We're talking to stealth like in
I know.
comparison to like radar systems and stuff like
I
that.
know that's what we're talking about.
We're not like real stealth.
Like
you're like Harry Potter invisible cloak shit.
I know. I wasn't talking. Sorry, I should have phrased that. I wasn't talking like that. Was like, oh, we have the technology now. Like we should make those.
I mean, you were equivocating them, and I was like, to me, that didn't make sense. Like, no, these aren't the same thing.
Yeah, a big corral of nukes is always good to have. That's why Russia still exists. Probably the only reason. Anything big and destructive. Like the thing is, if you get into like we have things we can assassinate leaders invisibly. Remember, any technology you have, your enemies will also soon have. So, like, no one's ever going to be safe. Like the president will always be in some bunker somewhere. With anti-stealth beams all around him. It's but one of the things with that is we don't have the energy science. Like there's lots of things we could do if only we could have like Star Wars laser shit if only we didn't have to hook it up to something the size of a semi to fire once every 10 minutes. It's like we have some scary shit, but we don't have the energy science to really back it up. The closest thing we have that consistently can make power like that is like nuclear stuff, and we don't have those in portable packs yet, at least not that I know of.
Don't got the Ghostbuster packs yet.
Yeah, but I was
no nuclear accelerators on our backs.
I was telling Colin before the podcast started that they just accidentally discovered how to make batteries last pretty much for a lifetime now. So
what was that discovery?
I don't know. I didn't read the article. Just that they
Please elaborate. This headline is amazing.
Cool. Well, sounds like
sorry, I'm just feeling the stereotype that Americans only read headlines, which is pretty much true.
It violates a few laws of thermodynamics. Yeah. The what's that called? The principle of.
Well, they said pretty much a lithium
Entropy or
ion
something.
now last a lifetime, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's good. That's a good thing. So.
It still means your cell phone battery will die every 2 years like normal, but
yeah. Yeah, I love it that I have this Galaxy 5 phone that's coming up on 2 years old. And yeah, I remember that battery used to be at 90% all day. I could use it, and then now it's like down to 50, 40, 30. It's like, there is no plot to make this battery die quickly. But mine, I can actually replace the battery, so I'll just probably buy a new battery for it.
Rather, if you had an iPhone, just have to buy a new phone.
Well, I don't buy Apple phones. I don't like them, actually. I'm the least impressed with Apple when it comes to their phone. I have no use for them at all. I don't like the things. I don't like how they work. I don't like the things they do, and I don't like it that you can't replace the shit. But to me, a phone's a phone.
Yeah.
I'm going to replace it no matter what. A computer I like to get 4 or 5 years out of, and things like that. But yeah, I've never been an iPhone fan. I don't know why, but I I looked at them and was like, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I was always super low tech on my phones because I just didn't use them that much, and I splurged on the S3, and it's been pretty great. It's like it's fucking 5-year-old phone essentially.
Yeah,
But it's
Samsung.
Did he cut out now?
Go ahead.
We just stopped at the same exact time.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No, just saying that the S3 is like essentially a 5-year-old phone, but mine's only like a year old, but it still works. The battery gets weird and the face is cracked now, but it's still working just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the one I saw that I did see one in the store the other day that tempted me. It's that Edge.
Yeah.
Where it has, so I was like, what's the deal with this? Because the guy was there demonstrating. I was like, why would I want this thing that looks like it can break around the edges real easy? Because the glass is now exposed around the edges. And then he held it sideways and he's like, oh, watch this. And he sent a text to it and you could read the text and it'd tell you who was calling just at a glance at the side of it. I'm like, oh, okay, that is pretty cool.
And you can swipe the edges like almost like it's a volume controller or do stuff like that.
All kinds of little tabs. You can customize them to, like, so you know how you have your favorite people you call or whatever. Well, now you can put that on the edge and just tap. You can make them little balls, different colors, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Tap that and it calls. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but for most people that have their cell phone either in a case or in their pocket, it would be totally.
Yeah, that's the thing. I said, what kind of case do they make for these that protects it? And he goes, yeah, they don't. So I was like, oh, okay. See, because my S5 is, I don't have it with me, but it's like in a big rugged case. Because I've face dropped that a few times, so I'm always glad I have that rugged case around it.
I know a guy who has an Edge, and like he has a case on it, So I don't know if it's really protecting the front end, but more probably the back end. But
yeah, I think. Well, the thing is, the side it's just exposed like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a known defect, but I don't know. It looks cool. I mean, I get a new phone like every 4 years. So.
I don't know. I think the case market's like, that's a racket. You should build a phone that doesn't need a case. The case should be the fucking case of the phone.
Exactly. You're paying $700 for a phone. I want to be able to shoot at it and hold it up and have like bullets bounce off of it.
Or like the new stupid video for, is it Galaxy or is it iPhone that has the rapper guy pouring champagne all over it and sticking it in a fish tank?
I can't remember. That might be Galaxy.
Okay.
That's probably Samsung, yeah. Because even mine is pretty much waterproof.
Yeah, because it just has.
I
can't remember the guy's name. I don't know why. Probably because I don't listen to his music and stuff. But he just like 2 ads. One where he's just in his house, like,
yeah,
hey, look at this, and the next
he's taking champagne bottles and he's just pouring it on his phone, and then like one of his entourage pours champagne on his phone and immediately breaks it. And he's like, that's cool. I got another phone for you. He just throws him another one of the phones that they're pouring champagne on, and then they're both pouring champagne on it. It's like, ah.
Then there's one where he just goes to the convenience store and he is pouring champagne on his phone, walking into the convenience store and buys more champagne, and then continues to pour champagne walking out of the convenience store. It's like, okay, like, we get it. It's waterproof or champagne proof or whatever. Like, so.
I think that's what Apple. I think Apple said that they almost have their stuff completely waterproof. The only thing they need now is to take out the audio jack, and then it would have been completely waterproof.
Yeah, people are so mad that they want to do that though,
because they can charge the battery like through induction, so they wouldn't necessarily need like a FireWire port,
right?
And then you take out the audio jack, and then that's one less hole. And then I don't know how you do speakers, but I'm pretty sure there's a way to do that. But then
but is Apple going to give you a free induction charger with your phone, or are they going to make you buy the $100 or $200 one you have to buy?
Samsung gives you have to buy the inductive charger for them. So
yeah, I was going to say, because that's just like we were talking about with the case of like, okay, the phone's still $700. Then I got to pay $100, $200 induction charger, and then a $30 or $40 case.
I don't know. People willing to buy new cell phones every year will buy anything.
We'll find a way, yes, but
there's no shortage of. They say there's an ass for every seat.
Yeah.
I never got a new phone every year, guys. It's like, wow, that's a lot of money, folks.
Yeah, for people like you and me and Nathan, where it's like we buy a cell phone like when it dies in 2 or 3 years, or when it's no longer serviceable in 4 or 5, and it's a lot of money to put into something that where you don't know if we're really going to get the money out.
I had my clamshell phone for like 3 years, and like only broke that because I left it in my pocket and went through the washer. That was a great phone. Like, it lasted forever. You had this little button you could hit. You hit the volume button and had a screen on the front, so then you could check the time to see if you had messages. Like, that was great because then you never accidentally dial anybody because like it's always shut.
Right.
The phone doesn't break because you break the outside before you break the inside of the phone.
And now to buy a simple flip phone, it costs just as much as a smartphone. So,
Does it?
Do they even make flip phones anymore?
Yeah. USA, last time I went to get my phone last September was literally smartphone. Literally one choice of either a flip phone or regular stick phone, $300 or $400 just for the flip phone or the stick phone. No price incentives, which is like, oh, you get a 2-year contract, you get this for $2 or whatever. You pay full price regardless because people don't want them anymore, or people
don't want them, but also they don't want to sell them because if you have a smartphone, then they can like jack your data all up.
Yeah.
And like charge a bunch that way because like you're never going to use that much data on a flip phone, but if you have a smartphone, you'll incidentally use a ton of data.
Yeah.
Just because it's convenient. It's like,
right.
Oh, the internet's right here.
What does an ocelot look like? Oh. I remember the one I had. Well, me and Stacy had before we went to smartphones. Because I had a Casio GZ1, and I had that thing for like 5 years. I love that one. That was the one where you press the button on the side and it flipped open.
Yeah.
It kind of like, and it was like you could throw it at brick walls, and like you couldn't break this phone. It was the original GZ, or it wasn't the original. It was the second generation.
Well, didn't you just like we're at dinner one day, you just threw it in a cup of water?
Yeah, that was just impervious. Because I love that fucking phone. But it got to Verizon was threatening us, like because they around here they don't even support those phones anymore.
Yeah,
have to get rid of that because. And I was hoping they would make a GZ1 smartphone. They did. It was called the Commando, but everyone who reviewed it said, "Yeah, this is why you're going to spend a smartphone money for something this antiquated." So. Because then they had the one that looked like the brick, like you could kill someone with. It was the one where it split in half and it had the keyboard, the physical keyboard.
Huh.
Send text on. It wasn't a smartphone, but it was cool. And that was another one you could throw it in a cup of water. You could beat someone to death with it and then talk about it. But yeah, they don't. I don't even know if Casio still makes those phones.
Casio's still a thing.
Yeah,
that's a good question. I don't know.
No, they still make calculators. They're good.
Or keyboards.
And keyboards.
That's 2 things I know them for.
It's like, does Yamaha still exist? Like, I guess they make bikes and keyboards and bass guitars.
Yeah.
But as far as a cell phone, I don't think I've seen a Casio cell phone for a long fucking time.
No, they don't. Those
it's like Nokia. Like, remember that used to be every cell phone, and then it was none.
Are they still around?
Probably.
Yeah, I think they are. Just like LG's still around, but I barely ever see them anymore either. So.
I see LGs around.
Yeah, but not as big as they used
I think
to be.
HTC's kind of stolen the LG market.
Because Nokia was like, they were the king back in the era of tiny cell phones.
Yeah.
Remember they had like the real tiny buttons, and because I had one for 2 weeks and took it back. I was like, I can't do anything with this phone.
Well, Nokia was also like, here's your generic cell phone, and then you had like Motorola's like, here's a thinner cell phone, and like that was
what was the Motorola killer? The Razr.
Razr, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone had one of those. Do they still make those?
Motorola's or Razrs?
Either one. So I haven't heard of Motorola in years.
I think somebody bought Motorola. I think did like Google bought Motorola. Okay, yeah. So they're working in some capacity. I'm not sure how much the name brand is out there still, but I think they just kind of bought them for the patents, really.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. They had the Droid Razr and the Droid Razr Max.
Okay.
So they're still around. But I remember those Razor phones. I had several of those. They were good phones, but they were very sensitive to anything. Because the keyboard was just like aluminum that was laser cut. And yeah, you got anything under those keys or anything, yeah, you're done.
And now it's a thing to have stitched leather on the back of phones. So
Doing that.
fuck, I saw
I
it.
think that's HTC's doing that.
Yeah, I think so. Because I saw it in the showroom. I'm like, why the fuck do I want this? Like,
Was that a normal phone or was that some weird luxury phone?
no, it's just a normal, like, you buy this off the shelf. It's not a premium. It's not like a special one. It's just a stock phone. And it was a design feature or like a thing on the commercial. It was like, oh, and we have this hand-stitched leather on the back of this. It's like, okay. It's like, one, I doubt it's hand-stitched. And
Saudi
two,
Arabian things where it's like I'm gonna have jewels put on every facet of the keyboard or something.
yeah, it's, I don't know. I guess technically it would make it a lot nicer. Like, you had a case almost on the back.
Yeah,
of it,
it's
but
like the case is built
most of
into
them
the phone.
most of them are textured to the point you don't really slip off your hands anymore anyway. So I don't know. That was just their gimmick, I guess, to get people to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people are having fashion accessory wars with their cell phones. I'm not, but somebody is. So
I don't even really carry mine. I want it to be my fashion accessory.
Let's see, it's most expensive cell phones in the world.
I know there's like diamond encrusted gold iPhones.
Yeah, the Virtu Signature Diamond.
oh, there's one that's like it's made in like conjunction like with your Bugatti Veyron or something like that. It's like outrageously expensive.
Nice.
It's like made out of like leather and shit like that. And
Oh, do you see this? Or do you see the stats on if you own a Bugatti, how many cars you own otherwise?
yeah, like basically if you own a Bugatti, you also own a boat and a helicopter or some shit.
Yeah, like 20 other cars and like 2 houses. And a bunch of other shit. Like, wow, okay.
So Bugatti is a job creator. Pay guys to build the boat and the 20 other cars, and these are some weird phones. I've never even heard of half these companies.
Yeah, because
Diamond.
we're not millionaires. That's why we haven't heard of half these companies.
$300,000. The body is made out of solid platinum. Holy shit!
God, that's what is it? 16,000 an ounce for platinum.
That body's made out of solid platinum, but your body's not. I'm going to punch the shit out of you.
Are you kidding me, dude? You're dead. Whoever this Virtu phone company is, they make the $300,000 cell phones. I guess they're all handmade.
Well, yeah, why not?
And probably to order, since I doubt they hopefully don't sell a lot of them.
I've never heard of this company. I'm on their website right now.
I mean, they're like the American Chopper of cell phones.
Okay, so if you get a Bentley, they will hand stitch leather onto the back with the Bentley logo, and it has a watch face. Okay, yeah, these are those Bugatti type things you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's nice to know if I ever get a Bentley that I get a free phone.
I get a free $300,000 phone with this.
Oh, that's actually. Well, what's a Bentley worth? Like, how much?
Probably $300,000.
Okay. Well, I was trying to I wonder which one's worth more, the phone or the Bentley.
Yeah,
I can't remember how much Bentley's
The
worth.
car is included in the cost of the phone.
$13,000 cell phone. Oh, what's wrong with our civilization?
Does it at least have any good features on it, or is it just the wealth?
It seems like they're just using expensive materials and constructing a pretty basic cell phone, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we're using rare earth materials, and now you can use your phone anywhere in the world, like even in space.
Well, like if, say, for instance, if you want the volume buttons on the side made out of sapphire, and who wouldn't, you can go into their concierge service. 24-hour worldwide assistance to facilitate your every request.
Every request, huh?
Well, you only sell 13 of them. Dave can handle all your requests.
Who the fuck's buying this?
I'm just intrigued by the concierge service that comes with it, to be honest. Is it just cell phone related requests, or is it literally like any request? Like, I'm in Los Angeles, I want sushi. It's 3:00 in the morning. Get me sushi. Or is it like, I have a dead body I need gotten rid of. Give me tips.
Well, it's basically they're cool looking phones, but it's basically like you sit down with a guy and they design a phone like, I like this material and I want it to look like that, and they'll do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Which-
Yeah, I mean, there's like the high-end custom shops aren't like a weird thing. It's just where you develop that thing. Because like American Chopper is like, like one of their bikes, like one of those bikes cost like $60,000 a piece, and they like had no more functionality than a Harley, like
Less
even less
functionality.
functionality.
Cruise control and lane avoidance, and those things are just a Chopper is just an experimental bike that you're jumping on. It's like, let's put the controls way up in the air and pitch the front tire out at a dangerous rake. It looks cool. Can't control it worth a shit, but there you go.
Have fun having it sit in your showroom until it loses all value.
And like Ferrari and Lamborghini, like none of that shit's like mass production. That's like all that shit's still handmade, and like they have a client list like to sell all the cars they're gonna make every year.
Yeah, they're trying. Ferrari and Lamborghini are in trouble though if they want to continue to sell cars in America, because they have to. Their fleet average has to be 30 miles to the gallon by in next 2 years or something, or 5 years, and there's
Can't they just make some weird electric car that'll like average it out?
I think, they're going to find a way. Believe me, the rich people that want those cars will buy some politicians and get it changed.
I'm sure there's some law they can make to pay like another $1,000.
Yeah, they'll just be a tax. Like, oh, you're.
No, they got rid of the gas guzzler tax goes away, and like you have. Yeah, they're not going to let them get by on that anymore. Well, like I said, they'll come down to earth and change that, because that's also because who was that going to put out of business? The people that make semi trucks. Like they were going to get put out. No, like Navistar, Peterbilt, all the American companies were going to get. They're going to have to tweak the laws or something. I was reading something about it a couple months.
Yeah, there's usually some sort of exemption for commercial vehicles and stuff, isn't there?
Well, there was. Well, see, what happened is the Obama people shoved all that crap through right after they voted to bail out GM and Chrysler. So they knew they had them on their knees, like so the car manufacturers wouldn't lobby to them. This is part of that green shit that they get together and do every so often. And they passed all these laws, and they start looking at them. They're like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is gonna put a lot of people out of work because we didn't exempt this or didn't exempt that." So they'll get back there, and change it, I'm sure. But yeah, because they made some change.
We'll get Volkswagen in there to fix it.
Well, yeah, Volkswagen did what they did. They did the right thing, because you notice none of the other auto companies pointed a righteous finger or got real sanctimonious. They were just like, got caught. Oh shit! It's like everyone's fucking doing that. I mean, I can't say that. I'm not saying this as a representative of any company, but. Yeah, I nobody like runs sanctimonious commercials or something like they cheated. We never no, that everyone was just like, oh shit, they got caught. What were they doing? How'd they get caught? Okay, boys, get back to the design table and make sure that never happened. Get caught that way.
Well, I thought it was there's a documentary, I think it was about killing an electric car, that talked about how haven't they had for a while the same miles per gallon or even better fleet average for their laws for emissions and stuff in their countries, where it's like 35 or 40 miles a gallon.
They have worse laws. We have the most restrictive collision and pollution laws. Now, we don't do miles per gallon so much because we don't use a lot of diesel fuel here for passenger cars.
Also, in Europe, they can get away with things because they don't necessarily require the like collision standards that we do, which is what brings up the weight of the car. That's why like a car from today weighs like almost like 500 pounds more than a car from 1970, even though it's like half the size. And So like you can get weird paper thin cars in Europe that like seat 2 people, but also
those are called A segment cars. They don't really sell it. The closest you ever saw to those being sold here were like the Smarts.
Yeah.
The ones they sold here were like super reinforced, and everyone's like, well, the mileage sucks on this tiny car. It's like, yeah, it's basically a solid block of steel. That was the only way they could get it on the road.
Because also
metal ball from Gladiators, that's what you're pretty much driving.
Because also like
Pretty
America has more road fatalities than any other country, so we have to like look towards that. It's like, hey, we need people to survive car wrecks because there's a lot of them here.
Well, also another reason, see, the Europeans get away with they can have a lot of that crap because they have taxes on engines over 2 liters, and you don't need to drive very far there. I mean, like when I drive from like Michigan to Iowa, that would be, I could drive across England and back halfway for the same amount of time and distance. I mean, it's you don't drive places in almost any other country except Canada like you do in America and Russia. The Russia, they have to drive really far. But yeah, you don't, like if you live in Italy or something, I mean, fuck it, well, you can only drive your car every other day or something like that. It depends on what number's on your license plate or something. You know, it's so yeah, they sell really tiny cars and there's no safety standards there, and you don't need to drive them. But they also use a lot of diesel fuel.
Yeah.
Which that forms a nice, acid rain that eats all your buildings and everything else. So we never.
That's what Volkswagen got in trouble with because they make like diesel cars.
Right. No, they got in trouble though. Big thing they did was even with the regular cars, like they figured out like when, which one of those fucked up states do emissions checks still, like Illinois and
California,
and they figured out like, oh, the wheels are turned all the way to the right, and then they put the probe in the tailpipe, and usually they turn something on, like they figured out exactly what they did, and that made the cars run really lean and like almost to the point like, how's that engine running? But as soon as those criteria were not met, it was producing 400 times the amount of output. So they could, but yeah, their diesels were part of that because they ran a lot of these sanctimonious ads about like, we're the only the car manufacturer that sells, we sell the biggest amount of diesel passenger cars in the American market, and they're getting 60 miles plus to the gallon. And all the other car makers are like, how the fuck are they achieving that and meeting the carb standards? Because you can't, we could never, we would have to like literally stuff socks in both ends of the intake and the outtake just to get them to meet the emission standards, the diesels. And it's like, how are the Germans making them that efficient and that quiet and that powerful? It's like, oh, they're cheating. Okay, well that makes sense. Now we know how they're doing it. Because the biggest thing we sell in diesel for the public to buy are like the big pickups and stuff that horse trailers with, but those are under a whole different set of laws. Because that's why trucks and SUVs are so popular, because they're exempt from a lot of those laws. Because you got to understand, if you're buying a passenger car in America, you're buying one of the most regulated products ever manufactured. They have so many fucking rules to make. That's why the American car makers basically gave up on cars and small cars and full-size cars, because there's just so many fucking laws to it. It's like, fuck it, let the Japanese have it. We make better trucks and SUVs than they do, and there's more profit in those anyways. Because yeah, a lot of the cars they make, like the last plant I worked at, it got to the point they were throwing $500 out the door with everyone they made, but they made them just so they could keep their fleet average at a certain rate, because the real profit center was in the trucks and SUVs. And once they start regulating those, they'll fuck that all up too. So. And then, about 5 million jobs will disappear out of this country, and everyone will be like, huh, why don't we have jobs? But anyway. That's why we're all going to vote for Trump. He will save us.
Maybe we don't get jobs that way, because they're going to have the Mexicans build the wall.
And pay for it and all this other shit. Yeah.
What we do need to do is just, like I said, seal this country up, make it into a giant fortress,
And then watch ourselves decay from the inside.
Oh, we're already decaying from the inside. What are you talking about?
Or we're not really watching ourselves, we're watching everybody else outside, worrying about them, more worried about ourselves.
Yeah, what we need to do is just be internally focused. Build the wall of prosperity.
Be like China.
Great Wall of America.
So when do the Huns invade?
They're already invading. This is what Trump is talking about. This is what he's trying to save us from.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if he accomplished any of the things that he crazily talked about so far
Oh, he
in office.
doesn't want to accomplish any of those things.
Oh, I know. I hope he doesn't.
He's like Willy Wonka almost. Only none of his inventions work.
I like how they had a news story about how he can't even manage his delegates, and he's supposed to be a great manager and help this country and shit, but he can't get anybody to represent him at the delegate or at the
Well, you know what's going on there though is there's a lot because they've told a lot of people that would be because he's willing to write some checks to get people to work for his campaign, but unofficially people have been kind of notified, and supposedly this comes from the RNC. I don't know for sure, but I've heard this story like 6 times now from different people that I listen to. They're basically telling people, you go work for the Trump campaign, your future in Republican politics does not exist. So you might want to think about that before you take one of his checks, because if you go work for that son of a bitch, you're done. You'll never work for the Republicans again. They're not writing letters that say that, because that would be against the law. But they're basically holding people's feet to the fire, saying, "Don't go work for that son of a bitch." That's coming from the National Republican National Committee. So supposedly, like I said, haven't seen the letters, but
yeah. But at the same time, they brought up from both spectrums between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, 2 people that don't take any money from anybody and do their own thing, and they don't have anybody to answer to. They're both changing the future of both their respective parties they're running under. Like, it's not going to be the same again for the Republicans or the Democrats. It's going to be a newly changed future where somebody, on the Republican side, they want somebody that, speaks his mind more or whatever, like Trump's doing.
mm-hmm.
Like, it's not so much as the religious crazy show anymore. It's more of just the crazy show.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they've dropped. They're not even using God to justify their madness. That's what people don't understand about people. They don't like the party plenums, and they don't like the electoral college and all that. But those things are safety valves. Those were put there to keep the crazies out. Because they all say, "Oh, it's the will of the people," and it's like most people can't even balance their fucking checkbook. How are they qualified to make these huge decisions? It's like, oh, I'd like to play cards with that guy, or I'd like, that's what most people are voting on. So, we're starting to see some of those safety valves on both sides come into check here, because they're like, we've hit the crazy bar. We gotta reel it back. Because, these people, Donald Trump's making Reagan look like George Washington. This guy's completely out of his fucking mind. As far as Bernie Sanders, I don't understand what's going on there. I don't know if either one of these people are going to make we're going to have 2 contested
delegations.
Yeah.
Well, it made it sound like that as long as, or it seems like how their poll has gone so far, that in the Democratic side, neither candidate will have enough delegates to win outright. And same thing with the Republicans. So
now the Republicans don't have super delegates, right?
Yeah, they don't have super delegates. They
so
wish
they
they
have one round where they have to vote how they were pledged, and then after that, it's a floor fight.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much how it works.
And that's why Trump not having any delegates is important, because if he doesn't have any delegates there, then nobody's going to try and fight for him on the floor. So he'll just get ousted because Ted Cruz has all the delegates or whatever. So I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're seeing how in the Wall Street, ever watch the like CNBC? If the Dow Jones starts to drop below a certain point, it always says curbs in, because it means they start incrementally shutting down trading because so you don't slide like 20 points or 20 percentage points in a day. Yeah, you're seeing the same effect with the party system. It's just this time it's on both ends. So, and that's why they put that shit in there. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, or it'll be just boring and no one will pay attention to it. We'll wake up one day and it's like Trump's our president. And we'll see like 9.
What do I have to do?
Then we'll see that big hydrogen fireball illuminate the sky, and we'll know it's like, yes.
Trump decided not to build the wall, just to nuke the border.
Just fucking incinerate everyone.
The cobalt blue wall.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. As much as I really don't want to see Hillary elected, but at the same time, it's like, do I really want to roll the dice on Trump that hard? Like, I don't know. It might be more or less rolling the dice on Cruz, though, and I don't know anything about any of his positions.
Come on, Snake Eyes.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you can never go wrong with a Republican, as history teaches us. At least recent history. Yeah, because they've done a great job.
Well, somebody brought up, like, the dream scenario for them was like, okay, both conventions are contested, and, Donald Trump gets screwed, so then he gets pissed off and runs independent. And for some reason, like, they brought up Jesse Ventura for one, but I can't remember the other guy's name. That kind of made an announcement like a week or so. What?
I said, fuck, let's make him president.
Yeah. Well, there was another guy that like ran like last time the Republicans for a little while in the primaries, but dropped out. I can't remember his name now. That came out like a couple weeks ago, like, oh yeah, here I'm not running, but I'm just talking about this or whatever. I can't remember his fucking name, but that was the other guy. Like, okay, so they have 3 candidates on the Republican side, and that would allow Bernie Sanders to run independent on the Democratic side, and then it would just be a giant fucking toss-up, and Congress would decide who the fuck the president was.
That would work out well for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I don't.
First coalition government in U.S. history. Yeah, that's.
And Newt Gingrich is our new president.
We have a revolving presidency. Every 2 months.
Well, like I said, like this year with all the elections coming up and shit, obviously that Congress could swing back for the Democrats. The progressives really do speak out and stuff like that. So depending on who gets in office and if Congress goes back to Democrats and stuff like that, it could be.
How are they going to go back to Democrats? They can't.
It's not going to happen.
There's no. If there were all these progressive people, where the fuck have they been the last? After Obama got in there, I mean, they all disappeared. And I don't know why they haven't been voting. I mean, in 2010, it all fell apart for Obama. He essentially has just been a lame duck president since then, because I don't know where all the adults stayed home, and all the adults stayed home, and all the crazy people went out and voted. Mm-hmm. And that has maintained, because I remember there's a 2-year election cycle in that Congress, and the balance never changes, or it gets more conservative. So I don't know where the fuck those people were. I mean, I wish they were to come out and vote, but I don't know. Maybe it's all this legal pot has just addled them.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all this legalized marijuana that I'll never get to smoke. Damn it!
Just gotta take a trip to Colorado, and then don't take.
God, I have a fucking drug test. I can't be doing that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Plus, I never got into. I like liquid drugs. I'm fine with my liquid drugs. I don't know.
They have liquid THC. What are you talking about?
Well, I like alcohol because I know exactly what it's
You
going
can get THC butter. Just put it on your popcorn, man.
Well, I listen to these people on Joe Rogan talk about, because they're all into pot and expanding your mind or whatever. And like I said, it sounds really fun, but then you hear
expand your mind and your chest.
There's only half of the Joe Rogan I listen to, because when they start talking about getting healthy and stuff, I'm like, where's the fast forward? Anyway, back to pot and existentialism. But then I listen to like guys talk about how, who's the Cuban guy, the funny guy that's always on the show? Joey Diaz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like he's talking because he can do monstrous amounts of
drugs.
Well, mainly it's pot now, and they was talking about like he always fucks with people. It's like, try one of these, just eat half, and like half is like a psychotic amount of THC, whatever the element is, and people are like, I didn't want to be a pussy, but I almost had a nervous breakdown. And he's like, oh, I know, I was just fucking with So it's like when I hear about that, it's like, you can have a nervous breakdown on pot?
I think they were talking about like something like, so what did you take? He's like, I took 800 milligrams. Like 100 milligrams is the effective dose.
Insane. It's like you're quadruple dosing, and it's like,
I don't care about that.
what happens to you at that point? I don't know.
I did a Vine. Did my Vine show.
I mean, can you even think at that? Can you get so fucked up on pot you don't remember what you do?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Come on, tell me.
not from any personal experience of doing drugs, but I remember my wife baked her first batch of pot cookies. The pot snickerdoodles. She didn't know how much THC butter to use, so she used way too much. And so if you had one cookie, you're pretty much effectively really fucking baked. And so her mom had 2. She had 1.5. My wife panicked and thought the dog, because she gave the dog like a quarter of a cookie. And the dog was just like fucking laying there it's like fucking basically barely existing, just breathing and just getting through it. And she was fucking freaked out, like, I think the dog's dying. And she freaking out. And then her mom was sitting on the couch. I don't know if I remember how to breathe. I don't think I can get up.
We're all dying.
It was really fucking weird watching these people fucking just go through this shit, because it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Now, mentally they're feeling that, but they're not really like having those symptoms, right? They're breathing fine, and
they just think they're fucking.
They become over aware and under aware of themselves.
If I decided to shoot this down on the podcast here, like, I would have to go to the hospital. I would shit my pants, and probably my heart would stop, because that would be like a fatal dosage of alcohol. Is there such thing as a fatal dosage of
You
pot?
can't. It's literally impossible to overdose on pot.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't know.
It's something like 800 pounds of marijuana you have to smoke, pretty much to overdose.
Marijuana.
You would choke on marijuana before you die from smoking.
Die from asphyxia, or the THC got you. Okay.
Yeah, so it's
We had people here, cops. This was years ago. It's a funny video. You can look it up sometime. A Dearborn cop took pot off some people he arrested, they made it into brownies at home, and he called the police department, and he said he was dead, and he thinks his wife is dead too.
Yeah.
Phone call. Okay, so it's like, I've never heard of anyone dying, but a lot of people think that they're dying.
yeah,
Like a good time.
I don't know what my wife and her friends that do that get out of it, because I've tried it a couple times, albeit I was slightly buzzed or drunk, and it just made me sober. So I'm not quite sure what it does to people, but I can't see it as anything good, because they just seem to freak out or be really mellow. And
some people talk about like the different properties of different weed and some strains, and like people talk about like a head high and a body high, and some people react badly to a body high, and that's usually what edibles bring about or something like that. That's what I've heard.
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's what you've heard.
Well, you listen to Kevin Smith long enough, it's nothing but like you learn about weed, gay friends, and the movie industry from Kevin Smith, and then every other comedian you learn about weed, comedy, and weird sex things. So it's like
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I only know what bears are and otters and shit from Kevin Smith, because he had his gay friend on talking about all that stuff. It's like, and then it becomes a weird thing in the Marine Corps. It's like, how do you know what that is? Like podcasts? Like, no, you're gay.
Okay, maybe you explain this to me so I don't have to Google it, because I just watched the second season of Kimmy Schmidt or whatever, and one of the guys is like, I'm an otter. What the hell is an otter?
What's that? That's like a shaved thin guy?
Okay.
Or is that a hairy thin guy? Fuck.
Because bears is like a big hairy guy.
Yeah, big hairy
Cubs
guy.
are people that like big hairy guys.
Yeah.
That's like
I think otter's like a shaved kind of like built guy or something like that.
Because there's like so many lingo terms for that stuff anymore. I've lost track of, because there's like twink and otter and bear and bear.
You got your power top, power bottom.
Those are kind of self-explanatory. Twink kind of is too. And then it's,
Twinkie, what's that?
What's
What?
that?
Twinkie, what's that?
no,
Oh,
just
just
twink.
twink. I think that's like a thin person.
And these are all like gay people
Yeah.
Yeah, this is different.
looking for different gay sex types.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So these are like the tits. Some guys are tits. Some guys are tits man. Some guys is an ass man. And
Yeah, some guys into bears, some guys into twinks, some guys into
Well, I think it's Malcolm is like Kevin's gay friend, and he was talking about like,
I thought his brother was gay.
yeah, he's gay too, and like he's explaining because talking about like, well, who's into like big hairy guys? Like, I don't understand that at all. Like, wouldn't you just be attracted to attractive people? But then he was like talking about like when he was in high school and like he couldn't be gay. Like he was like basically fell in love with his best friend, but like he couldn't be gay, so that was never going to happen. So now he just grew up liking the type that was like his best friend in high school.
Oh,
So I was like, okay, that makes sense, I guess.
so this is the culture that's like they still got some hangovers from living in the shadows.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have this secret, this code language and all this stuff. Huh. What do you think about what's the bathrooms stuff?
the transsexuals and that, or
Yeah, like because some people are protesting
That's in,
Meijer or Walmart or Target, one of them.
probably. Oh.
Someone saying because they're saying it's okay to use the bathroom with whatever gender you feel you are.
Yeah.
that day, or that just sounds like open season for rape for me, but it's not for me personally. But I know how fucked up men are when it comes to men and women stuff. And you
Yeah.
tell some dude like, use whatever bathroom you want. It's how you feel today. And he's just like, I feel like rape tonight, so I'm gonna be waiting in the women's bathroom.
I know there was like a store recently that announced they're going to put unisex ones in every one of their stores, but I don't think it was Walmart
Well,
or
like-
Target.
Well, like Hy-Vee, they have like a family bathroom where it's like everybody's welcome in. It's like it's supposed to be like your kid uses the bathroom. You don't have to be like the person to like the woman who's like hiding outside the men's bathroom while her kid goes to use the bathroom. Like, no, just go fucking either take it in with you or go in there. It's your kid. Like, fucking don't like have weird social norms about it. It's your fucking kid. Don't let him
We
get kidnapped through a hole in the wall.
We never fucked around with Grayson when it came to that. It was like if he was with Stacy, it's like, well, you're going to the women's room. I mean, to this day. And he saw, 13. No,
Yeah, I don't think of that. I think my cutoff for doing that was maybe like 9 or 10. Then I had to go to the men's room. So yeah, it was.
well, yeah, you just got to watch your kids so close because there's so many weirdos. I mean, the weirdos are not everywhere, but there's enough of them around where you really got to watch out.
We have enough information to be afraid whether they're there or not.
Yeah, I'm just more with Nathan on the whole bathroom thing, where it's like, yeah, it's great, I guess, to be inclusive to those people that really identify as a man or woman if they're not. But at the same time, I think it just opens the door for weirdos to be like, I just want to use the women's restroom today because I feel like getting some gawking in or something.
No, I know one guy who is transgender, and I like for his sake, I totally get that. It's like he is or she now is a gentle, decent person, not someone who would go into a woman's restroom and even fart. So I told the people that are genuinely like have that gender identity crisis or whatever, I get it, but I just think you can't discriminate. You can't just say, okay, well, the nice guy who used to be a guy who's now a chick kind of but can't really afford the surgery but dresses and looks and lives like a woman, yeah, he can use a women's restroom because he's a gentle, decent fellow. But you can't just have a restroom warden there like, no, you sir are a pervert, get out. So I just think you're opening people up for, if you're dressed up like a chick, use the women's restroom, and unless you got a beard like mine, no one's gonna know. But if you look like me and you're in a woman's clothing and you go in the women's restroom, you're probably going to be arrested, and you probably should be, because you're obviously doing something abnormal in public.
I mean, eventually we're just gonna have one bathroom anyways, but that's hundreds of years off when common sense takes hold.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't. You get money you'd save not having to plumb 2 restrooms. I'm okay with that now, and I'm not even a pervert or a weirdo for efficiency's sake, because like it doesn't bother me. I've been shitting in front of a woman now for 20 years because we have one bathroom in this small house I live in. So yeah, we pretty much all use the bathroom. Maybe not at the same time because that'd be a little awkward. Yeah, for me it doesn't. We kind of live like we're on a space shuttle here. It's like, yeah, you have biological functions. Go ahead, because we only have one bathroom. We don't have like separate bathrooms in our own. And we were like that in Wabash. We only had the one bathroom.
Yeah.
We had to go down.
We didn't have a shower. We had a tub with like paw feet on it.
Yeah,
And that's if you were upstairs and you had to go to the bathroom and didn't want to go downstairs, that's what pop bottles were for.
Or just peeing outside.
Right out the window. Oh, and they get mad as hell in winter when you do that. You have the big, what are they called? Stalactites. What are the ones that hang?
Yeah, I think there's tight and mite. I
Mite.
think stalagmite's the one that hangs.
Yeah, the old piss stalagmite off the side of the house. Mom and Dad didn't think that was too clever. But of course, the screen was rusty in one spot. The rest of it was shiny. But the place you've been pissing for the last 2 years. Oh, the pride. Oh, my son got into Stanford. My son's a quarterback. My son
just a window.
in full view of the neighbors. Hey, how y'all doing? Oh yeah.
He fully integrated his laziness with his problem solving skills.
See, this is
Well, I'm not a monster. I don't want to just piss on the floor.
Just start taking up the boards and pissing in the floor. Why is the ceiling discolored? I don't know. Must be a leak. Yeah, there is one.
Yeah, I don't really know of how. I mean, besides obviously with multiple people, like more than two. I mean, yeah, there's times that having just one bathroom sucks, but having like 2.5 bathrooms now for like almost 4 years is maybe kind of spoiled, but at the same time, I don't ever really use more than just the one bathroom, so I can't say that.
Well, when you have 5 people to a house with 3
Yeah.
stories
Yeah.
and 2 doors in the bathroom and one doesn't work.
Yeah, it gets you start to develop these problem solving skills.
No, I mean, I grew up in a house that was 4 people in it and one bathroom, and you learn to creatively maybe piss in the sink one time and just run the water and wash it with dish soap afterwards, kind of just to make things even. Or or I have like the back door of our house was a screen door, so yeah, I did the same thing you guys did, where I just opened the door like, oops, gotta pee, and just pissed through the screen. So it was, but guys can do that. Women are a little bit more screwed. They can't fucking just.
Well, they got tools they can buy now. They can do that.
Oh, that's true.
They
But
can get
back,
the PP.
back then though, they couldn't do that. Like 15, 20 years ago, they couldn't do
Some
that.
chicks can fling it though. Especially if they do that crab walk and get the angle. I'm like, what the hell? I've seen videos.
Really hold it in.
Oh,
Let
yeah.
it go.
Burlesque show. So Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Movie talk. 80s movie talk again.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it in a while, but I had a vague feeling that this movie would still hold up.
Yes.
Because I didn't think it was necessarily a lot of referential humor. It was a lot of just sight gags and stuff. So I was like, I bet this still holds up.
Yeah, and it does.
Yeah, it does.
It's a very funny movie. I mean, well, the TV show. Have you ever watched the TV series?
Yeah, it was only like 6 episodes, right?
I think it was.
'Cause
Yeah, it didn't make it very long.
Yeah, but it was pretty great. A lot of the same jokes that were in the series like reoccur here, like the big tall guy that just does shit.
Got
He
something
knows
on your
it's good.
face, and he like half a banana drop. These are the guys. Now this movie predates the 80s, but they made one of my all-time favorite movies, which is Airplane.
Yeah.
I still to this day love. I'll do lines from that movie, like with Grayson's friends when everyone was younger. I'll be like, "You ever seen a grown man naked?" Just say, especially in front of their parents. They always found that to be quite funny. It's like it's from Airplane. It's a joke, don't you get it?
Do you like to watch? Hey Jimmy, do you like to watch gladiators wrestle? Ever seen a grown man naked?
Yeah. So these are the same. Who was that? David
Zucker brothers.
the Zucker brothers and Abrams. Jim Abrams was the producer on and the writer on Airplane. Was he related to JJ?
I don't know.
It's a good question. It could be like a movie legacy. Don't they all control Hollywood? Hey, yeah. But yeah, this is this. So this is the same writing directing team that did Airplane, and this movie's has one of the most famous. Everyone remembers that line. What's the line I'm talking about? You know what? Which one? Priscilla Presley. Priscilla Presley.
Priscilla Presley.
Yeah, when she's going up the ladder and he's like, "Nice beaver."
Oh yeah.
Everyone fucking knows that line from this movie because it was so shocking.
And then she hands him a beaver. It's stuffed beaver.
Doesn't she say it's kind of dusty or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
Got it stuffed. So that's like the universal line because everyone remembers that from this. 'Cause that scene goes on a little bit because she goes up the ladder. He's looking up her dress and he's like, "Nice beaver." Oh, thanks. And then she's kind of walking down the ladder like, "Where? How can they pull this one out?" Oh, she hands him a stuffed beaver. All right, that's incredible. That's the humor of this movie. My favorite is when he goes to the slaughterhouse to meet Ricardo Montalban, supposedly. I remember the guy shooting at him. Who was it? The guy's like, "This is from Vincent Ludwig," and he's shooting at him, and Leslie Nielsen's like, "Don't fire the gun while you're talking. I can't." It's like, because that's the best. Some of the best lines in this movie are Leslie Nielsen, like, as Drebin, because he tries to be comforting to people, and he just says horrible things.
Like when Norberg's like when they're talking to Norberg's wife, and he just it's like, and like when he gets ready, he'll have a position back in the forest, unless he's a vegetable, of course. That's just common sense. I like how they first come in on that scene where O.J. Simpson's like in the hospital, and the doctor says to the wife, like, "I think we can save your husband's arm. Where would you like it sent?"
Yeah. There's all kinds of shit like that going on. And there's weird stuff going on the set. They're always bringing in strange, inappropriate things. And
whenever he parks, he like destroys something.
Kind of accident, or because remember, like he gets in, he hits something with his car, and the airbags go off.
Yeah, and they just keep inflating.
Yeah, they keep inflating, and it knocks the car back into drive. He's out of the car, walking to the police station. The car drives by and almost hits him, and then he shoots at it and bursts into flames. But it's continuing to drive, and then he looks around like, "Did anyone get the license plate?" And he kind of has that weird look on his face, and then just walks inside. Like, Leslie Nielsen's an amazing. He has his great comedic actor in this.
Yeah, because he plays everything deadpan, but it just
completely serious the whole time. Or if something gets so strange, he kind of looks at the camera,
makes a
weird face, and then just goes with it.
I think one of the funniest ones I picked up on this time, but probably didn't recognize when I seen it before when I was a kid, was like they're talking about how like he's shooting too many people or whatever. He's like, "I'll tell you, when I see someone stabbing somebody in the middle of the park, like I'll shoot him every time." He's like, "That was a play of Julius Caesar in the park."
Yeah, he said, like, 12 people stabbing a guy to death in full view of a crowd. Shoot. Yeah, I forgot that Ricardo Montalban was in this.
Yeah,
and he actually did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And then George Kennedy. I always think of that guy from MacGyver. It's like, oh yeah, he was in this. And then wasn't he MacGyver's buddy?
No, don't think so.
Thinking of the wrong guy?
I think that guy is also in this movie, but I don't think he's like the main guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
like quite recently.
Yeah, George. I can't remember what he was in. He won like won an Oscar or something because somebody demanded there be an Oscar winner in one of these roles, and that was George Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, you're right. For some reason, I thought he was in that was in MacGyver. He wasn't.
bald fat guy, you know, interchangeable.
Not interchangeable.
And then, of course, weirdly, like O.J. Simpson was in this, like back before O.J. Simpson became the devil himself. This was just back when he was beating white women and still popping. So all the bad stuff that happened to him, like everyone was glad. Didn't that kind of stain these movies for a while? That O.J. Simpson was in them, like, 'cause I know they kind of had, like, it's not as funny because O.J.'s in it because he's a murderer.
Yeah, but he didn't. I mean, besides the running gag that he always, like had was some horrible accident or got dragged by a car or something for. I think that was a Naked Gun 2.
I mean, he's only in the first two, but the third one's not that great. So
I've never watched the third one, to be honest with you. I've only seen the first and second one, never seen the third one.
I guess if you have low expectation, like watch it. I guess.
Isn't there like 4?
No, there's only 3.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's only 3. I'm making that a definitive thing.
Well, this one they had the Queen of England, all kinds of. I forgot how vulgar some of that got. They were trying to assassinate her.
Because that would really accomplish something.
Yeah, watching this movie, like a lot of the visuals evoked weird things for me. It was like, like the establishing shots like looked like they're from Ghostbusters. Like, I mean, they're different shots of different buildings that aren't New York, but they look like the establishing shots from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Like I remember the dock scene and other scenes. The movie kind of has this, and it came later on, but it has like this Usual Suspects feel to it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like the scene where he's like sneaking in the building, like on the outside, it like became like very Die Hard for a second.
Yeah, until the statues had penises. Yeah, this movie, it almost seems serious. Yeah, and they had like some good establishing shots for like the police plaza and stuff, like because that building doesn't exist anymore. I think they tore that down and redid that.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's one of the things. Like, it's kind of a blast from the past, but the show this was based on was on TV in 1980, 81? Yeah. Wasn't on very long.
I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it was just low ratings or I thought it was like a combination of it was expensive to produce and then they have low ratings or something. I can't.
Well, it's on that list they have of shows that were canceled way too early. It's like number 3 or something. But yeah, it was the cost of making it was incredible.
I guess for a comedy, that would probably be like they're used to spending like nothing on comedies, and like here it has like elaborate gags and like shit in the background you have to pay attention to.
I mean, if you watch the TV series, which I've watched it before, it's obviously done on a set, but yeah, there's all kinds of crazy sight gags going on in the background that no one acknowledges, but it's like, well, that's really expensive to film that, and it's people that are watching it, of course, are like, oh, this is hilarious, but this is also a brand of humor that's very unique too.
And all that background stuff, it makes these movies rewatchable because you find new jokes to laugh at every time you watch them.
There's always something crazy going on in the background. But yeah, the TV shows and the movies are very, very similar. They have a lot of things. They recycled a lot of stuff from, because nobody watched the TV show. And at the time this came out in '88, like no one was like going to Amazon like, I'm watching the old police. No.
There's been a lot of clips from Police Squad that has been pops up on the internet every once in a while. It's like, here's this crazy scene from this thing you never watched. Like,
yeah,
like that was like one of the. I'm not sure if I think it might have happened in multiple episodes, but like they do the freeze frame where like everybody freeze frames, but then the set is collapsing in the background.
Yeah, the guys are blinking and they're obviously swaying and still, but people don't hold perfectly still very well. I remember in the original show, and there's some of this comes through in the movie too. Like the title of the show was always different.
Yeah,
like this week, I forget what it would be like, The Impossible Man, and it would actually say the title is something completely different, like, Showdown in Burbank, or, it was always fucked up. And this had the intro with the police car light.
Yeah.
Driving through, like people's houses, and a woman's bathroom, and there was, always
on a roller coaster.
Yeah,
it was
water
crazy.
slide. Yeah, also there's
Yeah, it goes to the car wash.
Yeah. So there was always stuff going on that was funny. And like I said, this is a certain brand. This is like super slapstick humor, but it's played straight, which is what makes it, because what was the other one that like the Mel Brooks, like Blazing Saddles? A lot of people compare Blazing Saddles to this as being like a similar kind of humor, but this is even better because everyone plays it completely straight.
Yeah.
And which is it's hilarious. I mean, that's because Airplane did that too, but then they had the background characters that were completely ridiculous. And but yeah, this movie's it's a very fun movie. I forgot how much I enjoyed it until I rewatched it for the show. And Weird Al Yankovic was in it.
Yeah.
And it had all the bad guys from the 80s. The opening scene, because they had the
Ayatollah Khomeini, Gaddafi, and
Gorbachev.
yeah.
I forget who the other guys were. The Arafat.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the other people were. I think that one guy was supposed to be like Honecker or somebody. I didn't get that, but
I like when he like wipes that spot off the guy's head and he like looks in the camera and goes, "I knew it."
well, it was funny, the whole dialogue when he comes back on the plane, and because his wife left him or something, he's like, "Yeah, I just went to Beirut to clear my head." It's like, oh yeah, some of the dialogue is so ridiculous. Like, yeah, that's where you'd go to clear things out. And then who was the baseball player?
Is that Reggie Jackson?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
yeah,
You-
Reggie
yeah,
Jackson.
you remember that.
Sideburns, 70s facial hair.
yeah.
Black hair. I think that's pretty much the most identifiable baseball player at that time.
Yeah, I know.
Probably.
Probably because this was 80, 88.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't really find anything. I was very curious about how they got got to make this movie based off a failed TV series. But I couldn't really find a whole lot of information about that.
Yeah, I didn't really delve into like how it got made.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm not sure. I probably have to look at like what they were doing.
It was
Like
probably
if there
just
was a movie they did in between that kind of like, hey, we can do this or something, or if the star of Leslie Nielsen like was on the rise or something, and like, hey, we can do this.
it was just the same thing as now, where they ran out of ideas. So they're just like, hey, people probably don't remember this, and it was pretty funny.
Well, it was also like the budget for it was like 16 million, so it was probably not a big leap for them.
Yeah. I see, when I think of Leslie Nielsen, I think of this, and I think of Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
That's back when he was a serious actor.
Okay.
Commander Adams or somebody like that. And that's one of my favorite movies too. What did he do?
Okay, so like just before they did that movie, they did a movie called Top Secret, which has Val Kilmer in it.
Yeah, that was the World War II setting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife hates that movie. She said it's
Why?
horrible. I don't know. I was gonna watch it because it was on Netflix, and I was like, "Oh, you want to watch it with me?" I'd never seen this one because it's the same people that made Naked Gun. She's like, "Oh, that movie's so horrible." And I watched a clip of like the underwater like bar fight scene and stuff, and it was like, looks pretty funny to me. I mean, I've never seen an underwater fight where they just transition different backgrounds in an underwater fight scene, like during a bar and scuba fighting and shit. Like that was pretty funny.
I've never seen it before, but I keep like clips keep popping up on the internet. It's like, remember this from that movie? I thought I've still never seen the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still on Netflix. It was for a while.
You can find that one and watch it.
I remember there was the part where he's like sneaking on the ground. He comes up to Boots, and it's supposed to be like, oh crap, there's somebody standing there, and he's gonna catch us. And they pan up, and it's just a pair of boots sitting in the middle of a field.
I remember Val Kilmer was in it.
So how many Naked Guns were there? 3 or 4? I swear
Three. At
I
least,
swear there was 4.
at least what he directed. Let me see. It's only coming up 3.
Okay. I couldn't remember because I'm just confusing it with something else he did after that because he also did
Well,
like,
he did
spy
like
movie and stuff like
he
that.
did like Dracula Dead. Was that him? Did he do
Yeah, he was
Dracula Dead and
Dracula.
Loving? And then
It's
he
also
did
like Spy Hard or Spy Proof or something like that.
yeah, Spy Hard. There's Wrongfully Accused. He did a lot of spoof movies.
I think I'm just confusing it with one of those. That's why I thought there was 4. Because until you mentioned Dracula and then also Wrongfully Accused, because I totally forgot about both.
I remember hating Wrongfully Accused, but like I've been hearing people talk about recently, like, oh, it's great. But there was one, but then they talk about what's great about it, and it's like the one joke, and it was the one joke I liked from the movie where he's like, where it's like he's getting chased by a train, and there's like he's in a forest, and he peeks around a tree, and then you see the train peek around a tree as well.
Yeah, it was either that or like the fight scene and where he's fighting the one-arm, one-eyed, one-legged guy. He's just slowly pulling more stuff off his body. It's like what the hell's going on here? But yeah, it was. I think it actually had the same woman from Naked Gun in it too.
Maybe.
I think maybe I can't remember anymore.
Well,
So,
had Leslie Nielsen, Richard Crenna, Kelly LeBrock, because the woman as Priscilla Presley from The Naked Gun.
oh, that's right.
So you're probably thinking Kelly LeBrock, who sort of looks like her.
Is it the chick from Weird Science?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I tried to watch that Spy Hard.
That made these movies.
I think
Those guys.
Well, I think I remember one of them. I think one of them directed Scary Movie 4, and that's when it became PG-13, or Scary Movie 3. I think, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is like I remember people hating it, but I thought that one was okay. It was the one after that was pretty terrible. And I think one of them became weirdly conservative, so that kind of affected things.
Yeah, that'll make it strange.
Oh,
David Zucker directed Basketball.
okay.
Somebody had to.
Did these guys do Hot Shot as well? I think they did. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
That was a funny movie. The first one was. Kiss me like I've never been kissed before.
So it's hard. I don't think you've only seen Hot Shot Part 2. Is that the second one? Obviously.
Yeah, that's one that becomes a Rambo spoof instead of a Top Gun spoof.
Yeah.
You have that scene where like they're on like a PT boat, and like Charlie Sheen's doing his inner monologue, and then they pass a boat with Martin Sheen on it doing his inner monologue, and like they cross up each other.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing.
I loved it. And then they both yell back at each other, "I loved you on Wall Street," or whatever. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Whoops. I don't know if I'm hitting on the floor every time, but it has the. Oh fuck! What's her name? Popular '80s actress because she was in a couple of movies with like Tom Cruise and other shit, like the female lead in that movie.
Are you talking about the second one?
Yeah.
Hot Shots 2. Who was in that? Yeah, it was that one chick. She's kind of vaguely French, foreign-y.
Yeah,
thing.
she's in quite a few '80s movies.
Wow, Priscilla Presley's 70 now.
Huh.
That doesn't sound right, does it?
Valeria Galino.
It doesn't sound right that any of us are the age.
She
we
was
are.
in Rain Man.
Yeah, she's in. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She was in Rain Man, but I think she's only in the first part of it. So,
Anyways.
Yeah, almost everyone who was in The Naked Gun is either dead or very old now.
Yeah. I mean, they were old in the 80s.
so when did Leslie Nielsen die? Because he.
Like 4 years ago or something.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
Really sad his last role. He was like a transvestite bartender in a really crappy spoof movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. It was yeah. That was really sad.
Yeah, but it seems like a lot of older actors don't really get any good parts anymore. Like Christopher Lloyd's been nothing but trash for a long time. It seems like Christopher Walken
Well, yeah, I mean, but, you
doesn't
know,
do anything worth the shit anymore.
it's like all movies are written by 20-year-old people that aren't really like, hey, let's get the 60s to 80-year-old people in here to do some acting.
Well, I know that, but I mean, it's like they should have some role.
It's like if
somewhere.
your name's not Robert De Niro, you're not getting roles.
Yeah, but even if your name is Robert De Niro, you still get put in movies like, what was it, Grudge Match, or with Sylvester Stallone, where they're both like aging prize fighters that are going for another round.
Yeah.
They're 60.
Oh yeah. So Sylvester Stallone's like almost 70, but he's also like takes enough HGH to like he's probably basically 50 years old now.
That the secret?
Yeah. Because he's like Stallone's like same age as our dad.
Huh.
I think I told my dad like when he turned 60, he's like, just remember when Sylvester Stallone turned 60, he was stabbing people to death in a forest in Rambo.
Keep that up. Yep. That's
And then 3 untouchable movies later.
Oh, have you guys seen the new Magnificent Seven trailer yet? Because I just finally saw that today.
Yeah.
going with Denzel Washington.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll watch that if I hear good things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of more intrigued by the people they had in the cast more than the movie itself. But
Well, it's an Antoine Fuqua movie, so it's like you got a 1 in 5 chance of it being good.
what else has he done? Because I don't think I-
He did Training Day. That's good.
Oh, that's right. It was on the credits. And...
He did what was that?
The Equalizer was another one. And...
I never seen that. I don't know what that one was. He did that one Tears of the Sun movie. He did that. He did that Shooter movie with Mark Wahlberg.
King Arthur movie with Clive Owen.
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah, it was a new spin on it because it took it back to Roman times.
Yeah. He also did the Olympus Has Fallen movie.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was a great movie.
Yeah, my father-in-law, that's his favorite movie of all time.
Well, Training Day was kind of his like
Yeah.
Magnum Opus.
apex. Yeah.
It was kind of his introduction, and because like he was like a commercial director, so
Yeah.
he's basically he's got like the easy way to say it is that he was the Black Michael Bay.
Yes.
Well, 'cause I'm trying to remember the original Magnificent Seven. Obviously, it was an older movie. It's all white people, so there's no Indian, there's no black guy.
Yeah.
So it's I know they're making it more modern, but just as a more traditional Western goes,
Well, I mean, the True West was full of all kinds of different races and stuff. It wasn't just all white people out there. I mean,
no, I know. It's just I don't know.
well, like weren't most cowboys weren't they like Mexicans? Really?
Most cowboys were black or
Black-
yeah.
No, I just don't know any history of the period, so I didn't know if it was really common to see a lot of our non-white people on horseback, basically, or
Oh, yeah.
gunslingers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why people moved out there. As you could kind of, well, it was after the Civil War for one thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to get away from all that, and then yeah, you could pretty much be whatever you wanted to.
Well, being on a horse wasn't necessarily like a status symbol. It's like you needed people to drive cattle across the country, and the rich people don't want to fucking do that. So,
True.
Oh.
I mean, you saw City Slickers.
It turns into a tourist destination. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I mean, you got the Training Day crew back, so you got Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington. So I think, and Antoine Fuqua makes good looking movies, so I think you got some good actors. I don't know how the script is. Magnificent Seven's kind of a pretty simple thing to copy, so I don't think they'll.
I mean, the trailer itself made it look pretty good action in it, or at least a good spread of action. And I couldn't tell who's playing the Indian because I kind of looked like the guy who played Punisher and the guy that was in The Walking Dead almost, but I couldn't really
I
see
don't
his
know.
face. And then I can't remember the other people. There was
I think he has Michael Pena in there because he uses him a lot. He used him as Shooter.
God damn, I can't think of his name right now. It was in Parks and Rec and Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris something.
Oh yeah, that dude.
Yeah,
Fucking.
which would be kind of a nice action comedic kind of.
Well, I don't want to say
thing going
Chris
on.
Evans. That's not his name.
Leslie Nielsen was from Canada. and retained his citizenship the whole time.
Huh.
Didn't become an American citizen.
Oh, good for him.
Chris Pratt.
Stayed. Yeah, that's because I was thinking everything between Chris Pine and Chris Evans and Chris. Like I couldn't think of Pratt.
Who the fuck is Chris Evans? Why that name come to mind?
Who plays Captain America?
Oh, yep.
That's the guy.
These fucking Chris's.
Too many Chris's. Change your names.
They're all leading men. What is up with that?
But no, it should be. It looks kind of interesting. It looks.
I want to see someone put the package together and like make it and find some weird thread where it's like the Ridiculous Six is the first movie, then you have Magnificent Seven, and then you get to the Hateful Eight.
Add these numbers together. What do they mean?
Means 21, Tom. 21. No,
And then it's 9 months, and then it's 12 monkeys.
No, because at first when I saw the thread on YouTube about like Magnificent Seven, I'm like, why is the trailer for Adam Sandler's movie out again? I was like, oh, okay, that's a different movie. Okay, never mind. Like, because that movie was hard enough to get through one time. Like I
didn't even bother.
Yeah, I shouldn't have bothered, but I did just for the sake of seeing what it was really
I
about.
need to know. I can't just assume it's
Well, 'cause
terrible.
it's
I need
that
to know
stupid
it's
thing on
terrible.
Netflix where the first couple weeks it's 5 stars, and after that it gets to its real rating.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, great. Because that's why I never watch anything on Netflix till after it's been on there for like 2 months, unless I know what it is.
I mean, that's the same way with any anime on Netflix. 5 stars. Like, is it really this good? Like, there's so many ratings, and it's 5 star, and the recommendation is like, oh, and it's just some weird rape fetish.
Tentacle sex.
Well, like the new movie I added was Moonwalkers, because I just put on Netflix with Rupert Grint and the guy that played Hellboy. I can't think of his Ron Perlman.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it's like getting how they got like or trying to get Stanley Kubrick to film the fake moon landing and stuff. And it seems like a kind of a weird LSD visual type movie period piece that might be interesting as a free rental on Netflix. So that was like the
Heard it has a very long restroom fight scene.
Oh,
It's
really?
incredibly violent.
What movie? That movie?
Yeah,
The
Moonwalkers.
oh, does it equal Eastern Promises bathroom fight scene?
It seems more like a funny yet violent dark comedy.
Yeah, that was exactly that's the thing. I haven't seen it yet. I want to because it looks kind of interesting. But the thing they said was like the bathroom scene was almost out of place considering the kind of tone and the humor. Like it's all of a sudden it turned into a really violent. It turned into what's the guys who did oh shit, I'm drawing a blank here. The guy who did the movies Lock, Stock, like
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, it seemed to have like a Guy Ritchie vibe to it, and then it turned really dark and violent for a few scenes. Like, because I guess the Ron Perlman character is like nuts. Like he's under a huge amount of pressure to get his money back from the guy from Harry Potter. So,
Yeah, but he's been.
anyone, now that we've moved on topics, anyone watch the Louis C.K. Horace and Pete thing?
I watched
No.
clips from it. I've never watched the show.
Yeah,
Is that the thing he lost his
Which
lost
is
his
the problem because
money on? He's like, oh, I guess we should advertise this now.
yeah. Someone might want to know about this because it's 5 big name actors in it. And, I haven't watched it yet. See, but I tried to watch Baskets, which he's like a producer on. It's that Zach Galifianakis clown thing.
Yeah.
Where the one guy plays his mom, the comedian Louis Anderson.
Jesus.
I liked it for 5 episodes, but it was so dark and so weird. It's like, shit, I know people like this. I can't watch this anymore. Yeah, got to be. That's my problem with Louis. Like I like Louis C.K.'s comedy, and I like his. I've tried to watch his FX show, but it's like this is too much like life. It's too dark and too depressing. I want to be when I want to be entertained. I want to be taken away.
Yeah.
Because I want to make a movie about the Nazi death camps. I'll watch it because I'll never be there, and but when you watch people show movies about people or TV series about people in their horribly failed, lonely lives, it's like, shit, I don't know if I can watch this. this isn't transporting me to another place. It's just
Yeah,
back to my life.
I only heard about this show because there was an article about how he's bankrupt now because of the show.
That's not true. He just did a thing with Mark Maron. He's like, that's bullshit.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of, I forget how did they describe it. Because this went on this has Louis C.K., Steve Buscemi, Edie Falco, Alan Alda, and there are some other. It's like it's got really big name actors in it. But he produced it himself and released it as like a thing on his website, like you could buy.
Yeah, he does a lot of that stuff. There's some of the stuff he just self-produces and he puts on his website.
And he made some comments about like, I went a couple million behind the 8 ball to make this. But I think he was talking about in terms of recouping production costs, not that he's bankrupt by any means, but just like, okay,
that's what I thought. Yeah.
This is the money I staked and this is what I got out of it. It's not quite even. But there's a lot of people that hate him too.
Yeah.
And can't wait to be like, oh, well, he tried to make something too cool for the room and he got fucked in the ass, didn't he? Ha ha, with your secret TV show. And so I think there was a lot of people that reported that this is a horrible failure and it didn't even make it one. He made 10 episodes and it was people just pounced on him. But according to him,
I think he also produced and released that Tig Notaro album where she talks about cancer. So I think nobody else wanted to release that. It's like, this isn't funny. She's just talking about how she's dying.
Right. Yeah.
And then he's like, no, this is brilliant. And he released it on his website.
Yeah. Well, that's like somebody explained about Louis C.K. It's like people don't remember what kind of comic he was before he was successful. He wanted to do shit where like played ukuleles and shattered things.
No, you'll have to. I think I can't remember what this might have been. This might have been a Pulp Comics, but there was an old Comedy Central thing that they did where it was like special. It was kind of special. It was more than just a stand-up routine. Like comedians could like kind of do like kind of skits and stuff like in between their comedy bits. And so he did one. I think it was a Pulp Comics or it might have been something else. It was one of these, and it was before anybody knew who he was. Like this is when he was like a writer on the Chris Rock show, and it was like he did his comedy routine, and then in the background is like a strange, like I don't know, like freak show going on where like you just have this weird guy with a cowboy and he like reacts and laughs to things, and then they have like
almost had a Tom Waits vibe to it almost.
Yeah. And then like people come in and do weird talents that weren't really talents. Like, look how far I can stretch my lips. And it's like, okay, whatever. And then his comedy was just like kind of like, and that was like the idea is like, I'm going to do my comedy, which was like, wasn't bland or it was kind of bland, not very memorable. But then there's just going to be this weird shit going on in the background. That was like the joke.
Yeah. It was like avant-garde comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
And they directed Pootie Tang.
And then it all changed.
No, I mean, I've only seen 2 scenes from Horace and Pete, and one of them was more of a political just diatribe, and it was memorable for that, but it wasn't funny. And then one of them, to me, it was just kind of like, huh. Like, that was kind of fucking like, okay, that guy put up a big fight and then just fucking gave up after he said one thing. And it was kind of funny in that way.
Like you said on Mark Maron, this is the darkest of dark comedies. Like there's not a lot of laugh out loud funny stuff because it wasn't really it wasn't really it's one of those things where it sounds like people miss the point.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen all of his other shows for the most part, and he's never really changed paths from just being a dark and realistic comedian. He's never been just like slapstick or, like you said, laugh out loud like it's something.
Yeah. I mean, Lucky Louie was pretty funny.
I only saw like the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only saw the pilot, so I don't know. I didn't see it.
That was a great show that nobody got.
That was one where he had like the Mexican lady across the hall, and wouldn't he have like weird conversations with the people in the building? I can't remember it exactly.
I mean, it was basically it was like the Honeymooners, but just incredibly vulgar.
Yeah.
And Like there's the one part where like their daughter's like dancing, but like the music she's listening to was like some rap tape he had, and it's like talking about like lick my crack, my like my pussy and my back or something like that, and like the daughter's playing that song and like dancing around, and there's like a moment where like Louis kind of getting to the song, and before he realizes, oh shit, turn that off. I remember that they had that one guy like Mike, which I can't remember what he's from. He's like another comedy. He's fat guy with a mustache and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a part where like his daughter's like going around, she's having sex with older men and stuff, and like Louis like, why do you let her do it whatever she wants? And he's like, look, she's a teenager. That's like telling a Kodiak bear not to fuck older men.
Wasn't Jim Norton on that show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those, but because like the conceit was like he worked at like a muffler shop or whatever, and Jim Norton was like one of the guys at the muffler shop.
I remember he was covered in urine. He's like, that'll attract women.
Yeah.
They smell it. It's like a natural aphrodisiac. Everyone's like, what the fuck?
That's why Pamela Adon as his wife, and she does the voice of Bobby from King of the Hill.
Oh, okay.
She's also in she was in Californication.
Yeah, as the agent's wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I love that show, and I wish that was still on, but
No, that show got enough seasons. It got kind of bad there at the end. Actually, I didn't see the last season, but I kind of doubt it like pulled itself out of its rut. But whatever. I don't know.
I know there's the scene that I like the most I've seen from Horace and Pete is you just look it up online. It's called the douche tax. Or whatever, this guy comes up to the bar and Alan Aldous serving him, and he's like, "Can I get a Budweiser, please?" or whatever. And he fills it up in the tap and hands it to him. He's like, "Okay, $5." He's like, "Wait, $5? That guy just got a Budweiser. It was $3.50." He's like, "Why is it $5 to me?" Because it just is. He pays $3.50. You pay $5. What is that? You guys are practicing discrimination. What are you discriminating against? And then he starts getting uppity and out and all this, like, fine, I'll just put it back. You don't obviously want the beer. And then start yelling at each other. Then Louis' character comes in and it's like, hey, what's going on here? And then kind of shoves out all off to the side and is like, okay, I'll deal with him. And then he's explaining to the guy, it's like, okay, he's been coming here for a long time. He's a regular. That's why it's $3.50. It's still not good enough for the guy. So he's like, well, I still don't see why I have to pay $5 and it should be the same price. And he's like, well, for him, he just comes here, he gets the beer and sits there. That's all it is. And you guys, you come here with your friends and you hang out and you laugh about how it's kind of a dumpy, divey bar. And, you leave. You don't ever come here again. That's why it's $5. And he was like, is this because I'm gay? From uptown, I have more money. He's like, no, it's just, ironically, you come here to ironically hang out. This is where you make fun of the people here. You're not here for the bar. Because that's all this guy has is the bar and coming here for a beer every night. And you have other stuff. You have a life. And so then the guy was like, oh, so it's a douche tax? And then he was like, yep. And he's like, oh, okay. And then pays the $5. Because once they establish that it's a douche tax, it's okay with that guy. And now they got to pay $5. The whole discrimination thing goes out the window. To me, that was fucking hilarious. Like,
All right. Well, do we have anything else for this week?
Yes, the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt season 2. No, I did watch all of it, but we're not going to talk about it.
We'll pick that up this week.
I watched all of it.
All right. Well, anyway, for the American Greed Factory podcast, this is Nathan.
This is Colin.
Xander.
Goodbye, America.